everyone here. My name is Irina, and today you will be hearing about my mother-in-law, Sue. She is your typical monster mother-in-law from hell who is dead set to remove me from our son's life. Did her plan work? No, but she tried hard. Since you guys love mother-in-law stories so much, I thought my story would entertain you a bit. Also, if you ever find yourself in a situation like mine, my story will tell you what to do. So me and Emmett, my now husband, dated for 4 long years. We met through a mutual friend and the rest is history. He is a great man and equally handsome. I was surprised to see him single and didn't know what was up. When I started to date him, I knew why he was single. He did give me a small warning. He said, "I want you to meet my mom, but I'm not sure." Don't get me wrong. Irina, a cook teacher. I'm sure about you and about us, but not my mom. Why am I so worried about her? She won't react positively to our relationship. I don't want you to get this wrong. It's not like you're the wrong candidate or something. Mom just doesn't like when I bring a woman home.
Why? Emmett, what are we so worried about?
She won't react positively to a relationship. I don't want you to get this wrong. Mom just doesn't like when I bring a woman home.
Seriously? But you are past 20 now. Why would she have a problem with that?
Well, I grew up with my mom alone since my father left before I was born. My mom just fixated on me a lot. It makes her jealous to see another woman in her life.
And that was only a small warning, which didn't even come close to the real deal. God, Sue is a mad woman. I don't even know how to put this politely. She is absolutely insane. When Emmett finally took me to meet Irina, she didn't talk to me or even look at me the entire dinner. It was really embarrassing and awkward for everyone. Emmett tried to include me in the conversation, but Irina just ignored me and changed the topic. She was stonewalling me. When I asked her something directly, she would stay quiet and talk only to her son. That woman was determined to show me my place. Emmett apologized to me 1,000 times after leaving the dinner. He did it over the phone since he had to drive his mom home. Did I mention that he lived with her? Yeah. She would pull health scare stunts and cry a river whenever he wanted to move. My poor husband was conditioned to put his mom over everyone else. As we moved forward with our relationship, Sue started to become even more hostile. She kept telling Emmett to break up with me and all kinds of things. She even blackmailed him when I asked him to move in with me. I could write a novel about her antics. I put up with her horrible behavior because I loved Emmett and he loved me too. But things got worse after I married Emmett. Dictations on my wedding day. Sue walked up to me and said, "Don't be so happy. Irina, this marriage will not last a year. I will make sure of it."
My notes. What are you saying? Sue? Who says things like this at a wedding?
I don't dare care about your stupid wedding. You will never steal my son away from me. I can promise you that. I will make sure this marriage dissolves, and then I will have my son back where he belongs.
Emmett loves me, and I love him too. Don't you want your son happy, Sue?
My son was perfectly happy with me. He didn't need you in his life. I don't care how you managed to trap him, but you won't be here for long. I won't allow some woman to take over my son. I am and will be the only woman in his life. I hope you remember that.
Her words made me cry on my wedding day. As if this wasn't bad enough, she also cut up my wedding veil and threw out my flower bouquet. It was a disaster, but Emmett and I still got married. Emmett tried to get his mom to apologize, but that apology never came. What was worse was the fact that we had to live in Sue's house after the wedding. She appears on my wedding night. I cried to Emmett and said, "I can't do this. Emmett, I love you and really want to marry you. I want this marriage to work, but I can't stay here. I can't have Sue in our lives. I'm so sorry for my mother's mistakes. Irina, you know I am the only one she has. I cannot cut her off. Please understand my situation. Sue will make my life hell in her house. Emmett, can't you see that? I will be miserable here. I already am."
I promise I will figure out something about the living arrangements. I won't let you suffer for long. Please just give me some time.
Emmett assured me that he would do something as soon as possible. He did keep that promise. Within 3 months, Emmett took a job opportunity in another country. The pay was exceptionally good, and he decided to take it. Sue wasn't happy and threw some major tantrums, but she calmed down when Emmett said that she could come and visit. He flew out soon while I was all set to fly out to him after a month. Thankfully, that month, Sue ignored me a lot. She never talked to me and did her own thing. I thought that maybe I could have a quiet month before I leave for good. I would worry about Sue coming there later. Wolfie had other plans. It was just a few days before my flight was booked to my husband's country. I had a strange feeling when I saw Sue sneak into my room. She thought that I wasn't looking or even in the room. I was actually in my closet with the door half closed, so she couldn't see me, but I could see her. I turned my surprise when Sue sneaked into my room while I was quietly packing my stuff. I stayed silent and observed what she was doing. When I saw Sue reach my bag of documents and take out my passport, I was immediately on alert. She took my passport and happily left the room. I came out of the closet and tried to make sense of what I was seeing. Well, I went to the living room to find my mother-in-law discussing her evil plan with a friend on the phone. I was shocked to learn what she was about to do to my passport. I quickly went to her room and saw my passport lying in a black pencil case. Something came over me, and I took out my passport to replace it with hers. Then I went back into my room and called Emmett. I said, "Your mother is just trying to burn my passport." Emmett. She came into my room and took my passport. She thought I wasn't there, but I was in the closet packing my stuff. I overheard her plan when she was telling a friend on her phone.
Wow, what are you saying? Arena, Mom tried to ruin your passport. This can't be true. Oh God, it can't be true. This is true. Emmett, I wish it wasn't. I have my passport safe with me, but I replaced my passport with hers. I wanted to give you a heads up about it.
My mom can't do this. Alright, Neil. I'm sure she will back out.
Why don't we find out? I will make sure I have proof.
In that case, I will make sure she never stays in our lives.
I knew that Emmett would have a hard time believing the truth. It was his mother after all. I didn't blame him. I knew I could prove everything to him. She liked to boast, and she would spill the beans to me to make me sad. It was only a matter of time. I made some plans and quickly packed my stuff. I was waiting for an out to leave this place for good. The next morning, Sue seemed to be in a good mood. She was cheerful and kept giving me smirks. I knew that this was the time to use her cocky behavior against her, so I sat down and said, "Hey, Sue, have you seen my passport anywhere? My flight is in 3 days, and I cannot find it anywhere."
Hey, your passport. I think I know where it is.
"Oh, really? Sue, thanks for finding it. I must have misplaced it. Can you give it back to me? I already knew where my passport was." I was just baiting her. I wanted her to spill the truth about what she was going to do to my passport. And Sue took the bait without even being suspicious. She looked at me and laughed at first. Then, with the meanest voice she could muster, she said, "No, I can't. For now, I destroyed your passport so that you cannot live with my son in another country. It has been burned to ashes. Now, you will be forced to stay here while I go and have a good time helping my son build his life there. Things will be just like they were before you came into the picture." "Oh, really? Sue? You think it will be that easy to remove me from my husband's life? Have you forgotten the fact that I am not his girlfriend anymore? I am his freaking wife."
Divorces happen to a lot of people. Irina, not all marriages are meant to last a lifetime. It will be easy for me to get rid of you now. I will be around Emmett a lot of time while you sit here unable to do anything. Retake a few months in. I will be able to convince him to leave you. Then there will be nothing holding us back anymore. This time, I won't allow him to bring in worthless people to replace me again.
The way Sue had planned this entire thing was disgusting and amusing at the same time. She was so hell-bent on being the only woman in her son's life that she was ready to do anything. All this while she'd been quiet because she was planning this whole thing. It's really impressive how fast she can come up with a plan to destroy my marriage and her son's life. She was confident that her son would listen to her and divorce me straight away. I can see why she would think that. I mean, they would be far away from me, and I would be able to rarely visit. By the time I can get my passport back, it will be too late. It was a brilliant plan. I'll give her that. But there was a big flaw in it. She didn't even think about it. So I decided to enlighten her. I said, "That's a nice plan you've got there. That's Subation, or I'm very impressed, but it's not going to work. Sure, you did destroy a passport, but..."
That's a nice plan you've got there. Sue, I am very impressed. But it is not going to work. Sure, you did destroy a passport, but...
Oh yes, you can always get a new one. But it will take months. I will just need a little time to convince my son. After that, no passport will be able to help you.
Why would I need a new passport? Sue, my passport is perfectly capable of doing its job. But I don't think yours can, though. So it looks like now you can't go live with your son.
Excuse me, what are you talking about? I have my passport and plane tickets ready. I will be leaving in a few days.
You can't do that if you don't have your passport with you. Sue, meanwhile, I have my passport with me just fine.
I pulled out my own passport and showed her. Yes, it was authentic and it was mine. I showed it to her but didn't let her touch it. I wasn't gonna be that stupid. I let her see and watched as her face showed complete confusion. It was like she couldn't comprehend how my passport got back from the grave and was in my hands. She looked shocked and said,
Wait a damn minute. How is that possible? No, this must be fake. I destroyed your passport with my own hands. I made sure it was burnt to ashes. This can't be real.
Unfortunately for you, Sue, my passport is in perfectly good condition. Not a single flame of fire has touched it. But I can't say that for you.
Sue went to her room to retrieve the passport. She left in haste and looked confident, but when she came down a few minutes later, she looked panicked and scared. She said, What the hell? Sue, where the hell is my passport? Did you steal it? This is not funny. Sue, give me my property back. You can't do this to me.
I didn't take your passport, Sue, but I do know what happened to it.
Tell me where my passport is. Tell me right now.
You burned it with your own hands. Have you forgotten the events that happened last night? You took your passport out, put it in the fireplace, and watched it burn. You looked really happy back then.
No, that can't be my passport. I checked.
Yes, you checked when you stole my passport and took it to burn it. But in your haste, you forgot to check it one more time before throwing it into the fire. Thankfully, I knew what you were up to and quickly swapped my passport with yours. It was easy. You had it right beside mine.
Sue looked like I had shot her in the chest. She clutched her chest and looked like she was about to have a panic attack, and I was in no mood to help her at all. She looked stricken with panic and fear. Sue also had tears in her eyes and didn't know what to do. She said, You monster! How could you do this to me? Oh my god, how will I get to my son?
It is okay for you to destroy my passport, but I'm a monster because I replaced it with yours. That's rich coming from you. Also, I don't think you need to worry about joining your son anymore.
What are you talking about? This is not over. I will get a new passport and tell my son what you have done. I will do everything in my power to make you pay for this.
A replacement passport won't do you much help. Swoo, I don't think your son would want you to come to his place anymore. Options, Emmett would like to say something on this matter.
I picked up my phone and turned on the call volume. Sue thought that I would confront her without having a witness. Well, that wasn't going to happen, of course. So, I called Emmett and put him on speaker. I also made sure to tell him to mute the call while I turned down the call volume so that Sue doesn't know there is someone on the phone. And boy, it worked wonderfully. Sue went from looking angry to crying when she heard my husband say, What the hell? Mom, what the hell did you try to do?
Emmett, I give apology. I just wanted to come see you. And look, your wife had destroyed my passport intentionally. She wants to separate you from me. Emmett.
Oh no. That won't work on me anymore. She didn't do anything. You're the one who destroyed the passport, and you're the one who tried to ruin my marriage by separating me from my wife. Although, I am surprised to hear that you think you can convince me to leave Irina. I love her, and nothing will make me divorce her.
Sue knew that she had been caught. She was in a tight place with no idea how to get out of this situation. So she started to justify her actions. And oh God, her excuses were just hilarious. She just showed how deranged and crazy she is. She started to sob and said,
Emmett, son, you need to understand why you did it. She really does want to separate me from you. Do you remember how happy we were when it was just the two of us? She came and destroyed everything. You moved away to get away from Irina.
No, I moved away to get away from you. Or everything was perfect until you started to mess up my marriage and kick Irina out of my life. I told you multiple times that I am. No, Mom. But no, your selfishness didn't let you choose your son's happiness over yours. What kind of a mother are you? Emmett, don't say that, dear. You're breaking your poor mother's heart. Irina's poisoning you against me. Irina has been nothing but patient with you. You don't get to blame your evil deeds on my innocent wife. God, I don't know how you could do this to your own son. So, you know what? I don't even care anymore. Irina is right. I don't want you to come here. If you do, I will throw you out. I want nothing to do with you anymore.
Hearing this, Sue started to bawl. She was slowly becoming uncontrollable while she begged Emmett to forgive her. She was desperate to get back into his good graces. She started to make stories about how I was abusing her at home. Emmett knew that all those stories were bullshit and said so himself. My dear mother-in-law kept crying and pleading with Emmett not to do this to her. Meanwhile, my friends arrived at the door and were ready to move my packed stuff to their house. There was no way I would stay with Irina any longer. I would be gone that day itself. They started to haul my stuff into their trucks while Irina continued to bawl in front of the phone.
Irina, do you have your stuff out of the house?
Yes, I do. Emmett, don't worry, your mother will not be able to destroy anything of mine anymore.
Good. Now go with your friends and stay there till your flight. Leave Mom be and don't entertain her anymore. I'm hanging up. Call me when you're out of the house.
Sue heard our interaction and started to panic again. She looked like the deranged woman she was. She said to Emmett on the phone,
Emmett, son, please don't do this. Don't abandon me here. Please forgive me.
Stop. Mom, just stop. I don't want to listen to your bullshit anymore. Lose my number. Your Mom. I don't want to see you or hear from you again. I will be blocking your number and all forms of communication anyway. Irina will do the same, so don't try to harass her.
Emmett, please don't do that. I can't even reach you anymore. I can't clutch your feet and beg. Please don't shut me out. Let's talk this through.
We've done plenty of talking before. Honeymoon. You are an independent woman who can live without your son. And Crossings. I am an independent man who can live without his mom. We don't need to be in touch anymore. Don't bother.
Emmett said that and ended the call. Sue panicked and ran to her own phone to try and call him. We took that opportunity to run for the hills. We all got into the truck, and Emmett said that and ended the call. Sue panicked and ran to her own phone to try and call him. We took that opportunity to run for the hills. We all got into the truck and drove far, far away from Sue and her craziness. I called Emmett on my way, and he picked up instantly. I said, I'm out of the house. Hello, my name is John. I love Cat.
Thank God. I'm so sorry. Irina, I never should have left you there. Even if Mom had destroyed your passport and come here first, her words wouldn't have swayed me. I wouldn't have divorced you. You know that, right?
Yes. I know that. Damn it. I trust you. Speaking of Sue, I take it that she is blowing up your phone. Yes, she is. Don't worry, she's blocked. And I am going to inform everyone in the family about her latest deeds. Trust me, everyone will be on her side. Just be careful for the next few days and fly here as soon as possible.
I flew down to Emmett a few days later. My flight was exactly 3 days later, and I reached Emmett the next day. I was careful not to go out much and enjoy the peace and quiet at my friend's place. I couldn't take all my stuff to the new country, so I asked my mom to come and collect it. She would rent a U-Haul and take my stuff to her city. My friends were a big help and managed to keep Sue away from me until I left. Since then, Emmett and I were able to settle in just fine, and we're thrilled to start our new life. It feels good to be close to my husband after being away for so long. I will now tell you what happened to my dear mother-in-law after I left her alone. She kept trying to contact me and Emmett, and we kept blocking every new number she bought. The extended family was already informed about her obnoxious behavior, and they all cut her off. I don't blame them. Who would want to keep in touch with a psycho like that? Anyway, Sue filed for a replacement passport and came to our country, but she doesn't know our address, so it was a waste of time. She did show up at Emmett's workplace and was escorted out by security. She threw such a big tantrum, and the cops were called, and she was promptly sent back to her country. She won't ever get a visa here again. So we will be free from Sue for a very long time. Hello guys, my name is Eve. I have a story for you today. Thankfully, I don't have a crazy mother-in-law in my life, but I do have a crazy stepsister. I don't want to go into much detail about the stepsister. She's a nasty woman who competed against me every chance she got. She faked illness on my birthdays and broke my things. She even stole all of my boyfriends and crushes when we got older. I knew that she was jealous of me because of whatever reason. She would never accept that though. Allison always maintained that she was the better woman, so it was natural for her to attract men. For some odd reason, my dad and stepmother always went along with it. They didn't want their perfect family to be disturbed by warring sisters. Well, that just made things worse. Allison never stopped harassing me. Trust me guys, I did my best to control my temper around her. But shit hit the fan when I was 24, and this crazy freaking woman stole my then fiancé Chris by sleeping with him. It was our 5th anniversary when Allison casually walked into my house and said, "Wow, that's a nice anniversary celebration you have going. I'll treat you, Chitsy." I wonder if the effort was worth it though. No. Chris will be eventually leaving you for me anyway. What the hell are you talking about? Chris loves me, unlike all the men you slept with before. We are engaged, and he would never do that to me. God, you are so naive. And Chris, I always told you that men would pick me over you. First, Chris just couldn't resist me either. We slept together the day you went out for your friend's bachelor's party. Do make up lies. Christian always said, Chris would never do that. You are being delusional. Am I, D? Well then, why don't you ask your dear fiancé about it? Chris, I know you remember the amazing night we spent in your bedroom. But shouldn't want to tell your fiancé about it? I looked at Chris expecting him to blow up at Allison for the false accusations. He had always defended me when Allison insulted me in the past. He was my rock and the love of my life. I was sure that he would never hurt me that way. Imagine my shock and sadness when Chris was looking at the floor, refusing to look me in the eye. I was shocked and desperate for answers. I said, Chris, why are you quiet? Tell Allison what a lying witch she is. What will he say? Eve, he knows the truth and so do I. Now you know the truth as well. Chris and I slept together and loved it. It's only a matter of time before Chris breaks his engagement to you. Chris, is she speaking the truth? Tell me now. Don't leave me in the dark.
All I care about Mercenaries, about light is, I'm so sorry. I scratched. It's a mistake. The mistake. I'm not to hurt you. Please, adjust him.
I didn't listen to the rest of his speech. I was numb with pain and betrayal when Chris accepted having an affair with my sister. I didn't care about the details or how long it went on. I didn't even know. One night was enough. I immediately dumped Chris and threw my engagement ring at him. That night was one of the worst nights of my life. Allison laughed at me when she revealed the affair and called me a loser. I hated myself and thought that I would never find happiness again. Chris did try to talk to me and beg for forgiveness. Allison texted me giving me all the details of the affair that I never wanted to hear. She told me Chris would have left you eventually. The mice. He's just way out of your league. You should have seen this coming. A wealthy man like Chris needs a beautiful woman like me, not a sack of potatoes like you. What have I ever done to you? Breaks Chutana, Allison, why do you hate me so much?
I don't like you. I'm correcting tree spotchers anyway. And fast. I do hate you. Kev matter just free were you. You try to kill the... Yes, it's because my mom treats you well. You are the queen of this world. Though you are nothing but a freaking loser. You're wild Bruce to me. Eve, and no one would protect you because no one actually cares about you.
I finally grew a spine and cut her off for good. My dad and stepmother tried to intervene, but I told them off too. After ending things with Chris, I took a job transfer and moved to a different state. Israel. I started my life afresh and vowed to turn my life around. Also, I secretly prayed for a chance to get revenge on Allison for what she did. It was going to be a rare chance, but I kept hope. I stopped talking to a lot of people who still kept in touch with Allison and asked me to forgive her. I did have a good life in the new city, but kept everything secret from most of my family. I didn't even tell them when I met someone and got engaged to him after 3 years. My new life didn't have Allison's drama in it. I was finally happy and content with how life was going. Imagine my surprise when I got a mysterious phone call from an unknown number. I picked up the call, and it was Allison calling for me. I let her speak because I wanted to know what the hell she wanted from me. She said in a sickeningly sweet voice,
Hey, how are you doing? Yes, this practice about how Maurice and how his spots.
We're not that close to making small talk. Recipes. Tell me what you want.
You let me at that. Is it I spend cross and choose? I guess I can cast aside the small talk now. I have no interest in knowing how you are anyway. Oh, at what time? Retarded answers. I'm getting married to Chris next month, and you are invited. Why would I want to come? How down? And why would you even want me there if you don't care about me at all? Oh, you poor thing. Mr. Originate? I just wanted you there because of our close relationship with Chris. I met him through you, remember? But you did hide some anchors for embrace it. I would want you there. I know that this news might be bad for you, but it is what it is. Don't be jealous. We could have us married. I understand that you will be upset, as you petition. It is hard knowing that the man you loved is now marrying your stepsister.
So, Allison was indeed inviting me to gloat and throw it in my face that she was marrying my ex-fiancé. I was surprised that Chris stayed with Allison. I guess I could see why. Allison couldn't let go of his wealth, and Chris stayed because cheaters make a great pair. Allison thought that gloating about her wedding to my ex-fiancé would make me sad and jealous. Well, I wasn't either of them. I have my reasons why. So, I smirked at her and said, "Oh, that's okay. Oh, Zen, I don't mind you marrying my ex at all. In fact, I am very happy that you two found each other. I must say that two cheaters would make a great pair. Thanks for taking him off my hands. Allison, I don't need him anyway. I am marrying a better man."
Please, tinta sa tipo ates. Salk, even dated since you broke up with Chris. I know, just like everyone else in your life, you are a loser. At least mysterious artist. But you will die alone while I ride off into the sunset with your precious ex-fiancé.
Well, like I said, I am happy for you. Oh wait, dear Allison. Believe it or not, I am now engaged to a much better man who I will marry in the next few months. You didn't know because I was smart enough to not make my love life public again. Is that so, Evie? Then why don't you bring him to my wedding and rehearsal dinner? I am sure the family would love to meet this new fiancé of yours if he does exist.
I'll give you a gracious +1 so that you can introduce him to us.
Are you sure you want that? Allison, I mean, it's your rehearsal dinner and wedding, so you may not want my fiancé there. If I were you, I would think things through.
You are the one asking to be humiliated. And each nepotist for trashers. We think I believe your animated story about being engaged. Well, Allison, just so don't try to get out of this. But damn, bring him. I too want to see what better man you're talking about.
If you say so, then so be it. You need to tell everyone that you invited my new fiancé to your wedding events. I didn't want Allison to turn on me and say that I purposefully brought my fiancé to ruin her day. I knew that when she would see my fiancé, she would throw a fit. I didn't want to take the blame later. It was Allison who insisted that I bring my fiancé, Seth, to her rehearsal dinner. I am not even considering her wedding because I am sure we won't be attending that. Listen, anyway, Allison was so confident about my love life, being a lie that she did as I said. She told everyone that she was a good sister and invited my new fiancé so that everyone could meet him. Everyone seemed happy and excited to finally meet the man who stole my heart. Weeks on the day of the rehearsal dinner, Allison was prepared to make fun of me and my fiancé. She was convinced that there was no way I could find a better man than Chris. I get the sentiment. Chris is kind of rich and handsome. Allison was marrying him because she thought neither me nor her would ever get a better man than him. Friends to each one's own, I guess. Anyway, my fiancé already knew everything and was excited to meet my family, excluding Allison and Chris. He didn't care about them or their opinions. In fact, he downright hated Allison for different reasons. The reasons will be revealed later. We went to the rehearsal and arrived before the bride and groom. Both of them were fashionably late again. Meanwhile, Seth got the chance to meet and know all my family before the drama began. The real fun began when Allison and Chris arrived hand in hand at the venue. They were dressed to the nines while Chris didn't exactly look particularly happy. He lit up when he saw me, but I kept a neutral face. Meanwhile, Kristen, who looked happy and even smirked at me, actually turned as white as a ghost when she saw Seth. She immediately broke free from Chris and ran over to Seth. She said, "Seth, what are you doing here?"
Beth, what are you doing here?
You invited me to your rehearsal dinner. Allison, well, you didn't actually invite me knowingly, but you did.
Wait, I didn't speak him. Help, I don't understand. Now let me invite you.
I believe you told Ev to bring her fiancé to your rehearsal dinner and wedding, so
So what? But you tried to say.
Allison knew Seth very well. That's why she didn't want to accept what Seth was going to say. She looked horrified and tried to stop Seth from actually spitting out her worst nightmare. That's when I decided to step in and say, Seth is my new fiancé. Listen, I get it that you two know each other. Small world, right? Since you told me to invite my fiancé, I told him to come along.
Oh, no. It's Nana. It can't be your fiancé, course. You might. He personals. You two are playing a game to intentionally hurt me. You're trying to ruin my day. She's about to remember. Stop being so cruel. She both dies got proof.
I don't care about you enough to ruin your day. Like I said before, I found a better man, so there's nothing for me to be bitter about. But I don't know why you think you're acting this way. Allison started to suddenly cry and asked Seth if what I was saying was true. She was behaving insane and everyone, including Chris, was confused by her reaction. But I wasn't surprised at all. I knew this was gonna happen. Allison knew Seth very well. They went to the same college, and he was her senior. Allison was madly in love with him and tried to get with him several times. She even went as far as to jinx 2 of his relationships to get him to date her. Seth hated her since then and didn't want anything to do with her. He only agreed to come that day because he and I both needed revenge against Allison. We were successful in getting what we wanted. Seth actually looked at Allison in a very indifferent way and said, yes, it's all true. I'm engaged to my beautiful fiancée, Retaliation. She's the love of my life, and we will be getting married soon. You're not invited, though?
Fabiano! You can't marry my sister. Is expensive. I was in love with you. How can you be my sister? I'd have right. You can't do this. How dare you do this to me? You knew everything and still betrayed me. You what hurt me?
Unlike you, my love life doesn't revolve around my stepsister. Christians, listen, all Keishi. I had no idea who Seth was until a few months into dating, and just because you loved him doesn't mean Seth loves me and I love him too. How dare you talk about loving Seth in front of me? You never should have dated Seth. I always knew you were a cheap witch who wanted to ruin my happiness.
Yes, you intentionally got with Seth because I am marrying your ex-fiancé. That's ironic since you decided to literally make my ex-fiancé cheat on me. More strong enough. Now you are getting married to him. Meanwhile, you and Seth never dated, and he hates you with a passion. I didn't even know your connection to him before we dated. I think you should be throwing out allegations. In fact, you are the one who ruined my happiness.
Allison was now crying and screaming accusations at me. It was bizarre because she was throwing a tantrum over a man at her own rehearsal dinner. The people around were really surprised at what they were witnessing. Chris looked very uncomfortable and wasn't saying much. Since his friends and family were around, he was ashamed to let them witness such an embarrassing situation. Allison never cared about those things. It was clear to everyone that she was still in love with Seth. She clutched Seth's arm and was crying to him. Seth looked super annoyed and tried to get her off him. He said, "You're acting very inappropriately towards your stepsister's fiancé. Your soon-to-be husband is standing right here. You already stole Eve's fiancé before, but it won't work on me. You are only embarrassing yourself."
Beth, you have to believe me. Think with you just to get back at me. Doesn't love you at all. She does right for most, tragically. And she's doing this to hurt me and ruin my life. She doesn't love you like me.
You have some nerve saying that you love your stepsister's fiancé more than her. The two at your own wedding? This is very embarrassing. Person, I don't have enough time in this world to find out your love interests and get them to date me.
Don't forget your lady. B is Costa Rider by. Loving me. You did this on purpose. And you brought Seth to ruin my wedding. You are jealous of me and want to hurt me in the worst way possible.
Now. Where's actually Allison? I didn't even care about you until you reached out to gloat about your wedding to my ex-fiancé who you stole from me. I am happy to know that you are marrying Chris, and you are the one who told me to bring my fiancé.
Everyone in the family immediately agreed with my statement and even berated Allison for her reaction. Allison was so mad with fury and sadness that she didn't want to listen to. She was still crying and holding on to Seth for dear life. When Seth couldn't get her off him, Allison's bridesmaids dragged her away. They looked panicked as they could tell that Allison was risking her own marriage. Chris's family was already looking furious, while the bridesmaids were trying hard to make Allison realize what she was doing. But Allison kept screaming at me for ruining her life and spoiling her wedding. That's when Chris spoke up. He said, "There is no need to blame Eve for destroying your life or trying to ruin your wedding. This wedding is off now." From your reaction, it is clear that you are not over Seth. I'm not surprised. I always knew that you were marrying me to make Eve jealous.
What? There's no, you can't do this to me. Our wedding is tomorrow. You can't cancel the wedding now. I'm telling you, this is all Eve's plan to ruin my day. Don't give in to her plan. I keep her ex business.
You are a delusional woman. Crush, but I sing. See what you be. I sticker. Wagachai. Just blaming Eve for everything bad in your life when it's the total opposite. Barabba lies. I regret the day I ever slept with you. That decision ruined my life too. I would have been marrying Eve if you hadn't tricked me into sleeping with you. And I hate myself for complying. I never wanted this marriage in the first place, nor the relationship. You are the one who kept guilting me to stay with you. Today, for a captain, you have given me enough and more reason to leave Eve you. We're done. We're done. Squirties.
What are you saying? Iskren, how big? You'll not with me now. No, you can't do that to me. Least we will be getting matches tomorrow. The Spurs is stress-free. You won't leave me because of my stepsister.
No, I'm leaving you because of your behavior. I want you dangle our nasty affair in my face to get your way. I think I have suffered enough these years and lost the love of my life. With the roots passions. That's enough penance for me. Thus,
I was kind of surprised to hear that from Chris. It was true that he used to occasionally reach out to apologize to me and try to rekindle our hopeless relationship, but I never paid him attention and eventually blocked him. So hearing him call me the love of his life was surprising but also satisfying. It destroyed Allison and made her realize that no one truly loved her. All the men in my life who she stole abandoned and left her eventually, now. I was engaged to the love of her life, and her own fiancé was calling off the wedding. She realized that and started to totally lose her mind. I was calling off the wedding. She realized that and started to totally lose her mind. Allison was a crying mess and didn't know what to say. She kept alternating between begging Chris not to leave her and begging Seth not to marry me. It was pathetic, and everyone was giving her nasty looks. Also, her own friends and Chris's family didn't know about the cheating. When they found out, they had nothing but horrible things to say about Allison. Even Chris had to face some backlash for what happened in the past. He took it all without protest and apologized to me again. Eventually, Seth and I left along with the rest of the guests. Allison did try to hold Seth, Chris, and me down, but failed when people intervened and got us out. Chris kept his word and refused to marry Allison. The wedding was called off, and the relationship ended as well. He did call Seth and me for a meeting for a sense of closure. We both went because we really wanted to put this past us now. Chris apologized to me over and over again and said that he hoped I was happy in my new relationship. When I said yes, the answer made him sad. He congratulated Seth and then left without saying much else. I didn't forgive him, but I did like that he realized his mistakes. The story of Allison took a huge turn. She quickly started to become ostracized when all her friends, colleagues, and family got to know the complete story. People who berated me for not staying in touch with Allison were now supporting me after knowing the truth. In one evening, she lost 90 of the people she knew. She was promptly kicked out of Chris's family's home and left on the streets. Since she recently left work and thought of being a stay-at-home wife, she didn't have a job lined up. Her old job refused to give her job back because of the drama. She had to be unemployed and living out of her car for days. Since Chris's family was influential in the area, their word made many businesses refuse to give her work. So she had to downgrade and work in a place that gave way less money. She's living with roommates now and had to change her lifestyle completely. Seth and I got married just 2 months after this fiasco. We didn't want a big wedding, even though Seth and I are pretty well off. But we had a small wedding with all our friends and family present. We threatened to get a cease and desist order if she continued to harass us. That shut her off real quick. We've since moved on and are enjoying our life just fine. I got rid of my horrible stepsister, but not before giving her the biggest lesson of her life. Hello everyone, my name is Ellie. I must give you a trigger warning because my story does have some abuse. I won't go into a lot of detail, but I will mention some instances to show you what my monster mother-in-law put me through. I still regret the day I married my now ex-husband, Jake. I thought he was a good man. I thought that he came from a family that was respected. His mother, Chrissy, worked at a charitable foundation doing good for people. His father, Xavier, was a staunch businessman who took care of his family and made sure they were left wanting for nothing. Overall, they were a great family, and anyone would be happy to be a member of their family. Initially, I was happy to be a part of their family too. It was after my marriage to Jake that everything changed. My mother-in-law, Chrissy, became abusive towards me. Or you see, Chrissy slowly started to do stuff to hurt me and emotionally control me. It started off with her stealing my glasses, phone, and purse and hiding it so that I couldn't find it. Then she would laugh while I anxiously tried to find them. Then she would intensively ask me to carry extremely hot pots that would burn me. One time she added shrimp juice to her chicken casserole so that I would develop an allergic reaction and miss my party. She made me cook for hours and then dumped everything on the floor. She continued to do stuff like this and then claimed that it was all accidental or she wasn't responsible for it. Hell, she even intentionally slipped me when I was at a family dinner. Why? So that I would embarrass myself and people would laugh at me. After months of receiving this treatment, I confronted Chrissy and asked my husband for help. I said, "You need to tell me what the hell your problem is." But Chrissy, I'm tired of your behavior. I know you've been intentionally trying to hurt and embarrass me.
What the hell are you talking about? And Elise, how could you casually accuse me of something like that? God, are you jealous of me or something?
Why the hell would I be jealous of someone like you? Chrissy, you're a freaking psycho. You literally don't have any reason to do what you are doing. You just enjoy hurting me.
The guy grind, McKay. Ellie, you need to stop being so dramatic. That'll cause an unnecessary scene. The guy, sure. My mother is an esteemed lady who works at a charitable foundation. And she's the last person to hurt you. I was alarmed by my husband's nonchalant reaction to me being abused. Hooray. As the curses. She did hide her actions and pretended to be innocent, but Jake knew about the food tampering and intentionally displacing my stuff. I was surprised that he was blaming me for accusing his mother. I was horrified to hear what he said. I said, "Hey Jake, you need to do something about your mom." "I'm your mom?" What she has been doing to me is borderline abusive. You are being ridiculous. Now this serious. I would never do something like that. It's all in your head. Mom has been telling me that you are losing your mind by being jealous of her. Your day?
What the hell? Jake, you know your mother has been tampering with my food and adding allergens to it. You know much more than that as well. Still, you want to take her side? It confused me as to why Jake was being such a doormat and completely disregarded my words about his mother. He was never like that. He loved me and cared about me, but now it felt like he didn't care about me at all. I felt like I was struck with a thunderbolt. I looked at him in shock and was trying to understand why he was behaving in such a way. That was when his mom said, "Jake, your wife is crossing all limits. If she continues this behavior, we may have to kick her out. I always knew she was unworthy of our family, and now she is proving it. If you want to support your wife, you can leave as well. That will help us decide better what to do with your inheritance. Bigamies and meet him."
I know Ellie is being crazy right now. I don't support her at all. I don't support her at all. I swear she will behave herself. I will make sure of it. If she doesn't, you can kick her out. I won't mind. I won't mind.
I I always knew you were the reasonable one. Jake, thank God you can see past that crazy woman. I can't believe what a horrible woman she is. Blaming me for her clumsiness and accusing me of being abusive.
Layer B. Nohan, Matt B fresh bampa days, pronostert. How worried is the Schulzenators die? I am on your side, Turdree. And she will come to her senses once I talk to her properly.
I then knew why Jake was going against me, despite everything. You see, me and Jake were living with his parents because that's what they wanted. Jake worked in Xavier's company and was completely dependent on his dad for his income. He did give some assets as land and office complexes, but he didn't own a house. He wanted his father's assets, and he did give some assets as land and office complexes, but he didn't own a house. He wanted his father's assets and didn't want to piss off his mom for the same reason. Yes, my husband was a greedy and selfish prick. Beer often stayed away for business, so he had no idea what was going on in his house. Hell, even I didn't know that my own husband would refuse to protect me when we were alone. He said, "What the hell is wrong with you? Ellie, are you trying to get us kicked out or something?"
Lastly, Jay's interpretation. That's what you have to say after I told you about your mom's abuse. What kind of a husband are you? A kind that knows how to secure his future. You're dying! Aliki the house nurse. As you can't just expect me to accuse my mom of such things. Plus, you pull me into your problems. If she gets mad at me, do you think she will let Dad give me all of my inheritance?
Is your inheritance more important than your wife? Check. We don't need anything. Let's leave and buy our own house. We can afford it. It will be smaller than this place, but it will be ours. No one can abuse me there.
Oh, please. I mean the price and see. Doubtless, we cannot dream hour for buying a house like this. I'm not going anywhere. You will put up with my mom and stop complaining. Man, yours, redountness. I'm sure the mom will kick you out. Don't come crying to me then, because I won't help you.
And that was the point when I knew that my marriage was over. Jake betrayed me in the worst way possible. He wasn't the man I thought he was. I felt helpless and didn't know what to do. Chrissy seemed to ramp up her abusive tactics after getting confirmation that Jake wouldn't protest. I felt like I was lost. I wanted to run away and just leave everything behind. But I didn't do that. I wasn't going to let Chrissy get away with her abuse. I came up with a plan. I was going to expose her. I was going to make sure people knew exactly what an evil woman Chrissy is. My plan was simple. I accessed the security cameras around the house and pulled all the recordings secretly. I found plenty of evidence of Chrissy's abuse against me. I made a compiled video of it and kept it aside for a very special day. Chrissy's birthday was coming up, and we had a few guests invited for a small celebration. Iberia would be present as well. That would be my D-Day. The countdown has begun. I was out to destroy Chrissy. On the day of Chrissy's birthday, she was her usual jolly self. She acted like the sophisticated, caring woman that she is known to be. Surprisingly, she was even behaving well with me, probably because there were people around. I didn't say anything but just went along with it. After the birthday cake was cut, I stood up and made an announcement. I said, "Thank you everyone for coming to celebrate my dear mother-in-law, Chrissy. I'm sure you already know what a sweet and caring woman our birthday girl is. Now, I won't go into a lot of detail about her great deeds since many of you already know them. But since today is Chrissy's birthday, as you can see, I have set up a screen to display the little video I made about my great mother-in-law. It's enough with words now. I'll let you all see this dedicated video and make your wishes for our dear birthday girl. I played the video and let it do its job. I actually came prepared even if the worst were to happen. Some of my friends were one call away waiting for me to call them if something went wrong. After suffering for years at the hands of my monster mother-in-law, I was done being a doormat. I was standing up against her and exposing her two-faced self to everyone. I didn't care anymore. Not for my mother-in-law. Not for my husband. I was freaking done. The people saw the video I had painstakingly compiled over the last few months. They were horrified and dumbstruck. Chrissy and Jake stood in a corner overcome by shock. Ava reflected on their reaction. I didn't blame the man. He was away for days and didn't have an inkling of what was going on. When the video stopped playing, it was actually my father-in-law who spoke first. He said, "What the hell did I just watch?" Jin's, "Chrissy,
Here. It's not what it looks like. I am not like that. These are fabricated videos taken out of context. Javier,
Oh, really? Chrissy, they don't look fabricated to me. You want to tell me that my daughter-in-law went to the extent of fabricating videos for what? That to humiliate you?
yes, that's right. Beezer, Ellie's doing this out of malice. I don't know how she managed to doctor those videos. I would never do something like this.
Chrissy's nonchalant lies were getting to me. She wanted to tell everyone that her 1 year of abuse was all lies made by me. I didn't know how she thought people would still believe her after I made a full video of her antics. I calmly said, "So now you want to blame me for ruining your image." She wanted to tell everyone that her 1 year of abuse was all lies made by me. I didn't know how she thought people would still believe her after I made a full video of her antics. I calmly said, "So now you want to blame me for ruining your image." She wanted to tell everyone that her 1 year of abuse was all lies made by me. I didn't know how she thought people would still believe her after I made a full video of her antics. I calmly said, "So now you want to blame me for ruining your image." She wanted to tell everyone that her 1 year of abuse was all lies made by me. I didn't know how she thought people would still believe her after I made a full video of her antics. I calmly said, "So now you want to blame me for ruining your image."
So now you want to blame me for ruining your image. Chrissy, let's do one thing then. Let's call the cops and let them decide if the videos are fabricated.
To it one sense. Ellie, the cops won't be bothered to listen to a lying witch like you.
Are you sure about that? Chrissy, you're saying that you don't realize that the stuff you were doing is downright illegal. Let's call the cops and find out.
Chrissy looked more panicked at what I said. She never imagined that I would put her in this position. I had not only exposed her to her family, but also threatened to call the cops. She had never in her dreams imagined this happening. Her family was also pretty pissed off by what they saw. By a stroke of luck, I found out that some of Chrissy's friends were also present at the party. Friends who belonged to the charitable foundation where Chrissy worked. They were already giving her the stink eye while typing something on their phone. I assumed they were informing their work superiors about what they saw at the party. But Chrissy didn't notice that. She was busy trying to convince Xavier that she was being framed. She told him, "Xavier, do you hear her? She's threatening to call the cops on me. Ellie is threatening to get me in trouble. I'm telling you, she's delusional." Jake will agree with me.
Right. Did you care to tell me what the hell you were doing when your own wife was being abused under my roof?
Dad, it's not as bad as it looks. Ellie is making a big deal out of nothing.
Seriously, Jake, you think this is how a caring mother-in-law behaves? Are you out of your mind? You were still defending your mom after I showed you proof that I wasn't lying.
Wait a minute. Ugly, ugly bats. You told Jake about the abuse and he didn't do anything.
I was glad Xavier caught that part as did everyone else. They hadn't expected my husband to know the whole deal and not protect his wife. His damn wife who he married out of love. No, his father's fortune and staying in a grand mansion mattered more to him than his own wife. He didn't want to upset his mom and risk his inheritance, but he didn't remember that his father didn't share his messed up ideas. Xavier was a man of morals and ethics, which also meant that he wasn't taking my abuse lightly. So, as I predicted, Xavier would be the one to help me get revenge against Chrissy. He was furious when I said,
I told Jake about the abuse. Give me your. He refused to believe me. He always told me that I was overreacting and accusing Chrissy of nothing. He told me that he wouldn't risk staying at this house by upsetting Chrissy.
And why didn't you come to me sooner?
I needed to collect proof and show everyone what a monster Chrissy is. From Jake's reaction, it became clear to me that I needed proof to show that I was being abused.
I needed to collect proof and show everyone what a monster Chrissy is. From Jake's reaction, it became clear to me that I needed proof to show that I was being abused. Otherwise, no one would believe me or help me.
We all believe you. The Galatry. I am so sorry this happened to you. I am sorry I failed to raise my son right. The Galley, as for Chrissy, I don't even know what to say. You can call the cops on her. I won't interfere.
Shitsi, Javier, how could you say that to her? You will let her call the cops on your own wife. My life will be ruined. Our reputation will be ruined.
Dad, you are not thinking straight. We need to call the cops. We are your family. Ellie is no one. Thus, You can't support this.
Shut your mouths, you two. After what you have done, you have no right to tell me how I should and shouldn't act. And don't call me family. Child abusers and the neighbors can never be my family. As for my reputation, there won't be a spot on it. I will divorce Chrissy and disinherit Jake as soon as possible. I will have no ties with such monsters like you two.
Chrissy and Jake were shocked to hear that. They didn't expect Vare to decide that. Like always, they thought that they could spin the story to make me look like the bad guy. But no one believed them now. It was apparent from the cheer that the crowd made when Xavier made that declaration. Chrissy's friends had already left after giving me their support and promised that they would make Chrissy pay for her actions in their own way. They didn't even talk to Chrissy, and she was busy managing her very angry husband anyway. Chrissy and Jake cried to Zaire. They said, Amir, you are not thinking straight. You can't just abandon us on Ellie's word. Her words are backed by proof. Chrissy, she didn't just tell me the truth. She showed it to me. Unlike my spineless son here. I actually do intend to do what's right by Ellie.
Dolter with us back without any aspirations. I'm sorry, this shows why I am alive. I know I should have listened to Way. Tell me, Dad. I had no idea that Mom was really...
That is nonsense. Jake, I showed you proof once, but still, you didn't do anything. You didn't want to jeopardize your inheritance. I don't even know what I ever saw in you. It's ridiculous that your father cares about me more than you. Xavier, if you hadn't supported me today, I don't know what I would have done.
I support you wholeheartedly. That's Cario. My imbecile son doesn't deserve you, and he doesn't deserve the inheritance that he wants so badly. It's only fitting that I disinherit him now. Dad, no, you can't do this to me. I am your son. Dad? Don't call me Dad. Jake, I don't want to hear that from you. I am done being an ATM to two useless people who are nothing but a waste of space on this earth. Jake, since you have turned as greedy and fake as your mother, you can go with her after our divorce. You won't have a home here anymore. You are not serious about this. Gibir, you're saying this just to hurt me. You won't divorce me. I know that. We've been together for almost 3 decades. Fine. I have no idea that my own wife could be such a vile and monstrous person. After what I witnessed today, I don't want to be anywhere near you, let alone stay married to you.
When Chrissy froze like she was thunderstruck. Jake was already crying and repeatedly apologizing to Xavier. Still, I had no apology. It was funny just how today's event showed everyone where Chrissy and Jake's priorities lie. They only cared about money and reputation. They didn't care that they abused a person and let it continue for a year. I was disgusted with the useless man I called my husband. He was more upset at the news of being disinherited than hearing that his own wife was being abused. It was pathetic. Chrissy now restarted her crying and begging for forgiveness. To me, of course. She said to Xavier, Xavier, look, I know I made a mistake, but I swear it will never happen again. Don't take such a huge step without thinking. Xavier, I am your wife. Can't you forgive me for once? You two have some nerve asking for forgiveness. You didn't even apologize to the main victim here, who is Ellie. You are apologizing to me because I have the power to make you bankrupt and homeless. Not once have you ever looked at Elliot with remorse or apologies for your horrible actions. So, Xavier had noticed what I had noticed. He saw how they disregarded me and were more concerned with Xavier. He knew that they didn't want to end up on the streets after having a life like that. As soon as Xavier pointed out the irony, Chrissy and Jake started to pester me with their apologies. It was so fake and desperate that it made everyone even angrier. I was scrambling away from them as if their touch would pollute me. I wanted those monsters nowhere near me anymore. I said, don't bother with your fake apologies anymore.
Don't bother with your fake apologies anymore. I know you are sorry only because you got caught and are now facing consequences. I am not that doormat who came into this family a year ago. I know your fake faces. Ellie, come on, don't do this to us. We made a mistake. I should have protected you. I am so sorry I didn't. Conceptually, we love each other and we can look past this. Let's try to forgive each other. We are family. But just the Ellie.
Yes, we are family. Ellie, Alice Clatney. I'm so sorry. I'm such a bad mother-in-law. Lost by. I'll get help and get better. I promise I will never do this to you again. If you forgive us, we can go back to being the perfect family we were. Or later when it felt like Baileys for purpose vines.
I laughed, guys. It was hilarious that they called it the perfect family. I don't know which perfect family abuses their own daughter-in-law. I don't know which perfect husband lets his own mother torture his wife. Their fake apologies were just like jokes to me at this point. I did feel a little powerful having them at my feet begging for forgiveness, knowing that my decision would affect and change their life for the worse. I gave them a small smile and said, "You must be delusional if you think I consider you family. You are nothing but leeches. You came to apologize because you have your future at stake. Well, guess what? I don't forgive you. You are not my family." Before you even pull the husband's card, Jake, let me be clear. I will be divorcing you. That's final.
Oh no doubt, dear Irie. Simple fussy there. Listen to me. I did what I did to protect us. I wanted to protect your future. How loved you!
You let your mom torture me because you wanted to secure our future. I told you multiple times that we don't need your parents' money. I wanted to go get our own place to get away from your evil mother. But no, greed made you stay here and overlook everything your mom did.
Well, it amounted to nothing for him. I will be disinheriting him whether he likes it or not. Even if you take him back, Ixeli, I won't be having him around anymore. He can go freak off to where his mom goes.
I am firm in my decision too. Imaging. Jake, we are done. You are getting a divorce, and I will be going after half of your assets. You would pay for enabling your mother. Jake and Christy couldn't say anything anymore. They kept crying and saying sorry over and over again. You can imagine my satisfaction with this situation. I truly got my vengeance and protected myself. I called my friends, who gathered my things and drove me to their home. Jake tried to stop me, but with one stern word from Xavier, he shut up real quick. I didn't even look at Christy because I wanted to forget her nasty face as soon as possible. Real quick. I didn't even look at Chrissy because I wanted to forget her nasty face as soon as possible. I didn't go to the cops with the video, with Xavier divorcing Chrissy and Jake getting disinherited. I didn't need to spend money on lawyers to get them punished. They were in deep trouble anyway. Xavier kicked them both out of the house. They came begging to my friend's place to try and stay with me. Thea had an ironclad prenup, which meant Chrissy wasn't getting a penny out of him. As I said, her friends from the charitable foundation exposed her face to everyone at work and got her fired. As for Jake, his job at his dad's company was gone, and so were his dreams of getting a big inheritance. Now their only refugee was me, who had both a job and money. Chrissy was so shameless that she thought I would help her, because in her words, I was family. Well, I promptly kicked them out and threatened them with a restraining order if they ever contacted me again. As the months passed, I managed to settle into my own place. I was actually renting and waiting for my divorce to be finalized. Jake had a few assets that were obviously getting split between us. He didn't have a prenup in place because he thought I wouldn't be strong enough to leave him. Now I shudder to think that he could have easily turned abusive like his mom if I had stayed longer. Anyway, I did purchase a small flat after the divorce got finalized. Jake gave in easily because I threatened to go to the cops with the abuse videos. Xavier also did the same and got a smooth divorce. Jake ended up working 2 jobs to support his mom, who refused to work. He once reached out to me to complain about how his mom was making him miserable and he wanted to come back to me. I laughed in his face and told him to enjoy his new life before hanging up. It was a long revenge for me that kept going on even after I stopped doing anything. But currently, I'm living a good life, and so is Xavier, but Jake and Chrissy are suffering and getting a good dose of karma for their actions. Hello everyone, this is Zoe. I have a Thanksgiving story to share with you guys, where me and my new family absolutely destroyed my nasty mother-in-law Erin, my husband Aiden, his sister Sammy, and the rest of his family actually helped a lot to set things in motion. I will tell you what happened, but first, you need to know what led to this story happening. Erin has always hated me. Why? Well, I had drug addict parents and grew up in foster care. Now, I went to school, got good grades, graduated college, and even had a good job. Did that make me a good person in Erin's eyes? No. She was absolutely convinced that I didn't deserve her son. She said,
"A woman of such a messed up family background can't be my daughter-in-law. Aiden, did you forget that you come from a wealthy and well-respected family?" I have high status and can't pollute our reputation with a woman like her. Bro, what? No, what the hell is he been saying? And Shisa is saying, because you need to change your perspective on things. This is very offensive. Ezo is a great girl to show spread him. Brisk?
Catherine, I know my family isn't the best, and I didn't grow up under the best circumstances, but that doesn't define me. I worked hard to be where I am. I will prove myself.
Oh, please, eager in her way. Zero, as cautions were not grottowy. Don't get ahead of yourself. Ian and our family are way above you. I am sure you picked and trapped him because of his reputed family and his wealth. I know girls like you well. Do you look really on it?
Aiden and I tried our level best to make her change her mind. His father was long dead and didn't have much family left. He'd been close to his mom and really didn't want us to have a bad relationship. Growing up without loving parents made me hungry for Erin's approval. I wanted to have her as a true mother-in-law. I extended invitations for dinner, tried to converse with her, and many more. Nothing worked. Every time she was around me, she would covertly insult me, sometimes directly to my face when few people were around. That's my mother-in-law for you. Her nasty behavior was somewhat kept hidden from her family. They were very wealthy with strong family values and really loved me. So, Erin wasn't brave enough to directly insult me in front of them. But she regularly did it in front of Aiden and Sammy. Aiden and Sammy defended me, but that's all they could do. I was desperate to get her approval, and Aiden really wanted that too. So we never got contact with her. Despite Erin being against the union, me and Aiden got married. There were lots of yelling matches that I won't get into now. But there's one detail you should know. The family loves hosting family dinners, and Thanksgiving dinner is a huge deal. It happened at Erin's place with family only. I was never invited, and Erin always gave everyone the excuse that I wasn't family yet. After we got married, everyone expected that to change. So when Erin only invited Aiden to the dinner, we were shocked. Aiden was super upset while I wasn't family yet. After we got married, everyone expected that to change. So when Erin only invited Aiden to the dinner, we were shocked. Aiden was super upset while I just felt defeated. One day when Sammy came to visit, Aiden said, "Sammy, do you think Mom has forgotten to invite Zoe? Is there a possibility that she just forgot to send her an invitation too?"
Wait, so suspicions are. I didn't send you an invitation, which might not appreciation. And she said that the invitations were done.
I think she doesn't want me at her house for Thanksgiving dinner. I kind of expected that, but was hoping she would come around.
That's fucking horrible. You two are married. Mom is being a huge witch again.
I'm thinking of calling her. I'm seriously hoping she has a good explanation for this. We can't just overlook her slight this time. Zoe has been through enough already.
It was decided. They would be calling Erin. I didn't have the energy to deal with Erin. I'd given up. So it wasn't me who confronted Erin. It was Aiden and Sammy on a joint voice call. I was a mute listener that Erin didn't know was present. Aiden had said, "Mom, we are confused why you didn't invite Zoe to the Thanksgiving dinner. Your invite says that it's only for me and not Zoe."
Yes, Aiden and Zoe are married now, so she is family. I don't understand why you only invited Aiden and not Zoe. That woman isn't family. I made it clear to you when you married her. I need prisoners. I don't understand why you two are so surprised that she isn't invited.
What do you mean that Zoe isn't family? Mom, she is my wife, which means she is family.
I made my stance clear to you a long time ago. I did. That's disgraced. You married a woman I don't support. You knew my disapproval and married her anyway. You should have known that there would be consequences. Discretion. A lonely woman like her cannot be family to me. So she didn't get an invite.
There it was again. Erin was the monster mother-in-law that I knew her to be. Look, I tried my best to change her mind and even went through extensive humiliation to get her approval. But my early birth made it impossible to change her mind about me. It was bizarre how there was only one freaking person in Aiden's entire family who hated me. actual approval because of my background. It was just ridiculous. I didn't know if Aaron was stubborn and trying to be petty, or if she was just that vile. It made my head spin. Aiden cast me a very sad and apologetic look that made me want to comfort him instead. His mom's words hurt him more than me. That man loved me, like I was the best person in the whole wide world. There was no way I was blaming my poor husband for trying to make us all get along. My sister-in-law, Sammy, was furious on my behalf as well. She said to Aaron, are you out of your mind or something? Stop saying that Zoe isn't family. She's family to us. Like to all of us. Mama Sammy, what has gotten into you? Has that little witch managed to turn all my children against me? See, I was right about her. She's a good-for-nothing girl. Stop, Mom? Just stop. I've heard enough. For the past year, I tried my level best to change your mind. Zoe has done her best to prove herself to you, but all you have done is insult her. I see now that I made a grave mistake by telling her to try it and win you over. We wasted our efforts for nothing. You should have put in the effort to find a better bride for yourself and impress me. For years I've tried to model you to choose the right partner, but I see I have failed. That which has you trapped. Just like I imagined. You will not speak about my wife like that, Mom. Zoe has done nothing to make you act this way. You know what? Have it your way. If Zoe is not worthy of being your family, you're not worthy of being family to me. You can consider my Thanksgiving invitation declined. Actually, I don't think I would show up to any of the events you host in the future. There was a stunned silence on Aaron's end. I guess she was trying to gauge if Aiden was bluffing or speaking the truth. Aaron was convinced that she had Aiden wrapped around her fingers, but Aiden had already proven that wrong by marrying me. She was clinging to the hope that he wouldn't follow through with the words. Still, Aiden's words offended her. She said, I understand that you are angry because you think you are in love with Zoe. But if I were you, I would rethink my words. The day when Zoe would betray you and take all your money, you will need your mom. I know people like her. It's what they do. Don't throw away your poor mother to defend trash like her.
My wife is not trash, Mom. You will understand that one day. But for now, I can tell you for sure that I won't be around you anymore, and neither will Zoe.
They can't tell that Chris trusting. But Aiden, our detentures. Chris, you need to share for Thanksgiving. It's our special family today. Do something.
Like I said, Mom, I don't consider people family who don't consider my wife's family.
Same for me. I consider Zoe's family, so you're also upsetting me by not inviting her. Put me out as well. I won't show up.
You two have lost your mind. The invitation is on the table, and I will be waiting for you. You will come to your senses and show up. I says.
Don't hold your breath. Mom.
Aiden said that and hung up. We sat in silence for a while until Sammy arrived at the house as well. I guess she wanted to give us some moral support. The talk that followed was super emotional, so I won't be sharing it here. But I will tell you what we discussed at the end of our conversation. I said, you guys don't have to sacrifice family time for me. I will be fine. I will join one of my friends or take a double shift at the office. I won't be lonely or sad.
You don't have to do that. Zoe, it's my mom who is wrong. You don't have to compromise for her every time, and you won't have to be alone. You will spend it with your family, that is me. We won't have to join my mom's horrible dinner anymore.
And me as well, Zoe. Like I said, I won't go to Mom's place this Thanksgiving. In fact, I don't think I will ever go there again. We will stay in and do our own thing. I was truly touched by what they said. They were literally ready to ditch the entire family just to make sure I was not lonely on Thanksgiving. I sure knew then what I was thankful for that year. Air's words didn't hurt as much anymore. It did stir some anger inside me, but I managed to keep it down. I wasn't going to stew in anger for a worthless and vain woman like Erin. Suddenly, I had a bright idea. I said, why don't we have our own Thanksgiving party? I know it's just the three of us, but we can still make it work. I can make a good turkey, so dinner won't be a problem. The only problem would be eating leftovers for a week since it's just the three of us.
I think that's a great idea, actually. Now, I never thought of actually having a separate party altogether, even if it's 3 people. We can maybe invite some of our office colleagues who can't go home for Thanksgiving. Colleagues who can't go home for Thanksgiving.
I have some friends who would like to join as well. Mom never allows us to invite anyone over who is not family. Just will be different. And it will be new and special, and it will deflate Mom's big ego. Mom,
Aiden and Sammy seemed genuinely excited about having a separate plan. It was true that Erin was very strict about the guest list and didn't allow people who were not family, not even close friends who needed company. She was a freaking hypocrite. But anyway, I was pretty happy with our plan until Sammy suggested we do something better. She said, "You know what, Zoe? Let's invite everyone else in the family as well."
Actually, I've been thinking about the same thing. They deserve an invite too. They've done nothing wrong. Everyone loves you except my ridiculous mother.
I don't know, guys. Will that be okay?
we will extend invites to them and explain the issues. They will want to know why you are not coming to Mom's Thanksgiving dinner. We know what about what happened.
Now, this was some murky territory right there. Did I want to be petty and invite the whole family? Yes. Did I want some sweet revenge by having some family show up to my Thanksgiving dinner instead? Yes. But I never did anything this petty before. It was then I realized what a doormat I have been to Erin and a lot of people in my area. I rarely stood up for myself or taught people a lesson. I can't do that anymore. I needed to grow a spine just like Aiden and Sammy. So with a glint in my eyes, I said, "Let's do it. Sounds like a good plan." You were right. The family is bound to ask why Erin's own daughter-in-law was missing from the party. We won't anything. She doesn't care about my feelings. Why should I care for her?
You don't have to anymore. I think it's time we all cut ties with Mom. She's becoming even more toxic than before, and I am getting tired of her shit. I'm contemplating going no contact for a while.
Count me in. I could use some time away from Mom's drama and ridiculous judgments. So we will stick to this plan and send dates. Don't worry, Zoe. I will help you as best as I can. This Thanksgiving will be epic. Sammy was right. The Thanksgiving dinner was epic. I will slowly tell you why and how. But first, let me tell you what we did. We invited everyone we could think of who didn't have Thanksgiving invitations. We invited colleagues and friends, and even Sammy got some of her friends who couldn't afford flight tickets to their home state. We also sent out invites to all family members along with a short explanation of why we are hosting a separate party. Our recorded conversation with Erin came really hard for people who wanted to know more. Surprisingly, everyone was furious on my behalf and genuinely reconsidering going to her place. With all the hustle and bustle, we worked hard to arrange a good spread. We did well and had a blast on Thanksgiving. It was the best I had in my life. Now, I know you are curious about what happened to Erin and my revenge against her. Here's something I didn't expect until Thanksgiving Day. I thought at least some family members would go to Erin's dinner. Nope. Everyone turned down her invitation. Not one family member went to her party or even wanted to go. How did they know? She called us, of course. She called me and Aiden in panic. She said, "What is going on? Why didn't anyone show up to my house?" I arranged everything as usual, but everyone said that they were going to your house instead. Since I didn't get an invitation anywhere to attend Thanksgiving dinner, I hosted one for myself. I invited Aiden and Sammy because they told you they won't be going to your place. One thing led to another, and here we are having the entire family and our friends over. Erin gasped like she had been hit by someone. I guess she was hoping that her family was pulling a big prank on her. No one ever misses her Thanksgiving dinner before. Erin's pride didn't let her believe that the family would choose someone else over her. So she thought that it was all a prank. She said, "Oh please, this must be some sort of those childish pranks that you see online. Aiden, if this is an elaborate prank on me, tell everyone to stop right now. You know how much I hate childish and insensible things like that. This is not a prank, Mom. Me and Zoe are hosting a Thanksgiving party this year. We called all our friends who didn't have anywhere to go or couldn't go home. While we were at it, we invited the family as well. Erin, don't tell me you support this. Your wife is trying to isolate me because I know the truth about her character. You cannot in your right senses support your wife."
Oh, I support her wholeheartedly. Esht, Mom? And she isn't doing this to isolate you. This is happening because you tried to isolate my wife from the family by not extending her an invitation. You did us a favor. I like our Thanksgiving party much better than yours. And judging people's faces, they seem happier to be here with us than with you.
This is ridiculous. You can't do it. You care, but her Thanksgiving dinner should be with family. Shit, Risical. And you said my wife is not family, so you two need to stop being petty and let family come to my party. Are you Lane? That's getting ridiculous. Have a party for yourself. Madam, I don't care, but you don't get to keep my family members hostage. My stage fastage refreshments of them. Let them come over and enjoy the right Thanksgiving dinner. Bring for Wisario, cup.
As you say, Aaron, we're not holding anyone hostage. You can call them or ask them to come. They can leave if they want to. They know that already. Aaron hung up on us and started to call family members. Most of them ignored her calls, while some picked up only to berate her for being such a nasty piece of shit to me. It all happened in my backyard, so I could see it all and have fun thinking about Aaron's panicked face. Well, I didn't have to imagine her face for long. After a long and rather loud conversation with grandfather, Aaron showed up at our door. She was crying and looked really embarrassed. It didn't melt me even a little, and neither was anyone else pleased at her sudden, uninvited appearance. Aiden said, "What do you want? Mom? We're kind of in the middle of something." That's right. We had a lot of guests over and don't have much time to spare for you. I'm not sure why you're here. Don't you also have a dinner to host?
My dinner ended up not happening, guys. No one showed up. Everyone came here, as you can see.
Oh, that's a shame. Well, maybe next time they will show up at yours.
Everyone is threatening not to show up to any of my dinners ever again. I guess, Ken, you was Merrick. I know what I said must have hurt you, but that doesn't mean I deserve to be treated like this. Biles to Natoroy.
I don't see how everyone is treating you incorrectly. Like Chanel's. If the family decides to boycott you, that's not our problem. We didn't ask them to. They're mad at me for not inviting Zoe to the dinner. I didn't realize that.
You didn't realize what, Aaron? That you are the only one who has nasty things to say about me. That everyone else in the family is a decent human being. Now that they chewed you out for your behavior, you're here to defend yourself. Obviously, Mom, you can stoop very low. I heard Grandpa threatened to write you out of the inheritance. I'm pretty sure that's why you are here. Aren't you? Ajpawi.
Seriously, just what am I? Smash bird. You can stoop very low. I heard Grandpa threatened to write you out of the inheritance. I'm pretty sure that's why you're here. Miners about rated spectries. Bonaventy.
Aaron looked a little guilty. I'm not a dumb woman. I know well enough by now that people like her don't just magically change in a day. I knew she wasn't at the house because she felt bad for treating me unjustly. She was here because her family was now threatening to disown her. And she thought she could pretend to reconcile with me and set everything straight. Well, not happening. Thurin, I said, no matter what your intentions are. Thurin, I don't think I can look past what you have done. You haven't even apologized to me properly. I gave you enough chances, but not anymore. You need to leave.
But I'm trying to apologize. I am a spy to his Alpa's eyes. I disturbed her as I him. I must stop. So, let's need these haversy. Or it's Thanksgiving. Plus 8 special off for products. Let's put this past us.
No, I won't be doing that. I know your intentions from past experiences. I'm not going to allow you to walk all over me again. Erin at this point understood that she had messed up big time. While I had given her plenty of chances in the past, this time I won't put up with her. Her children and the rest of the family were backing me up as well. She had no one in her corner. She started to grow desperate and cried. I really have never seen her cry before. She had tears running down her eyes and was begging and pleading with us to give her one chance. It was honestly the best thing to ever happen to me. I didn't care if she was crying, and neither did her children. It was actually very irritating and annoying for us. She was spoiling our mood. So Aiden said, we said what we all had to say. Dom, you need to leave now. You're spoiling our mood and we have guests to attend to.
Why not let us inside? The day is Thanksgiving then. Let's just have some dinner and sort out our feelings. Our bush, everyone is here already, and I am also family.
Well, then I'm hosting this party in my house, and last I remember, you were very adamant that I am and never will be your family. That's why you never got an invitation in the first place. Erin looked like we had physically slapped her. Her expression was hilarious and pathetic at the same time. She kept crying and begging us to reconsider. Aiden and Sammy refused on my behalf and reminded her that she needed to leave. Eventually, when no one came to her rescue or even invited her in, she left crying. We went back to the party, where we were surrounded by love and warmth. Guys, the family was not kidding when they said that they would cut her off. After that incident, no one ever attended a party she attempted to host. I say attempted because she had no friends because of her nasty attitude, and family members had boycotted her already. This meant that no one showed up to her party at all. The fact that none of her children were talking to her also set her off. She cried, begged, and pleaded with us almost every week over the phone. When we blocked her, she showed up at her door. We never let her in and told her to stay away. Very unsurprisingly me, Aiden and even Sammy discovered that our lives were much better without Erin around. So we are still sticking to our no contact while Erin is still trying to get back in our good graces. Hello guys, my name is June, and in this story, you will see how I screwed over my ex-husband David and ex-mother-in-law Jessica, who tried to play me dirty. I am by no means a clever woman with a lot of tricks up my sleeve, so there was no setup or any plan of revenge. What happened to me was pure luck, with a ghost of stupidity on Jessica's ends. So let me start from the beginning. When I dated and married my now ex-husband David, I thought that he was simply a very ambitious man. He did play the part of a loving boyfriend and fiancé very well, but also dedicated a good chunk of his day to work. When we were in a relationship, I was never left wanting for anything. I got it all from him: love, affection, and care. He was at that time building his business and taking it to the pinnacle of success. I was super proud of his work, but never ran after his money. Still, his mother Jessica was always convinced that I was after his money. She said, "Don't think you have me fooled. June, I know for a fact that you are after David's money."
You are mistaken. Jessica, when I and David first started dating, he didn't even have this much money. I have always supported him and never asked him for anything.
Oh, please. And Adam, wait first. I am sure you have asked for plenty of things. My son doesn't give you any because I have taught him never to spend money on stupid things like gifts and girlfriends.
No, you didn't teach him well. Sure, he is a good man and a loving partner to me. But he's very money-driven and values it a lot. I know for a fact that you always drilled into his head that money and being wealthy is everything. It was true. David was obsessed with money. Building his business wasn't a way to follow his passion. He did it because he always ran after money. Jessica had boasted to me several times that I wouldn't get a cent out of him, that he would always choose money over a relationship. I didn't believe her until I married him.
Guys, after I married David, he did a complete 180. He stopped being a good husband and focused all his energy on work. No more affection, no more caring words. All he did was eat, sleep, and work. I stayed on because I just thought that he was stressed and had some personal goals with the company. But no, after 2 years when things didn't change, I had to sit down and have a talk with him. I said,
"Our marriage cannot go on like this. David, you stopped showing me affection completely. You don't even take me out on dates anymore. I've been feeling neglected for a while."
Why do I have to take you out on dates? Those are a waste of money. I don't work hard for you to be a princess. We are married now, so there is no need for those silly things.
You don't have to spend money on me. Maybe if you just spend some time with me, the time off work. And if I take time off work, do you think my bank will magically get filled with money? Don't be ridiculous.
I felt insulted. I never asked him for material things. He never gave me gifts or even took me out on dates anymore. He was so obsessed with working and money that he forgot everything. At times like those, I hated Jessica for making him this way. She was still egging him on about making more money and spending less time with me. It was exhausting having to be alone with zero affection from my partner. So, I finally made the decision and divorced him. David fought, but only because he didn't want to give me his savings and alimony. I did find work after marriage, but David's income was too high, so the court awarded me alimony. David was not happy, and neither was his mother. She once called me during the divorce and said,
Yaj, which posthus laffers is bepast? Check your reality about you. Ellen,
knew that you were after my son's money. My poor son had to marry such a gold digger like you. Now he is suffering. You better know what is right for you, and slowly I'll leave his much money alone. There's to love and cons to you. Jessica, let me tell you again that I am not after his money. His lack of love and affection towards me made me divorce him. No thanks to you. He really turned into a stone who doesn't care about anything other than dollars and cents. That is the only thing he should care about. He shouldn't be bothering himself with gold diggers like you. I hope the court sees you for what you are and doesn't give you anything. Until then, I'll do my best to stay with my son and guide him like I always has. Well,
I was a little amused. David was not much in contact with her. After I left the house to live on my own, David realized that he could guard his money better if he didn't have to look after another person. He started cutting off people from his life so that they couldn't ever ask for his money. I honestly believe that he had some mental issues that he needed to get checked. He was acting very bizarre. He only had his mother in his life before the incident, which I will tell you soon. It happened just a few weeks after we got divorced. One fine morning when I was minding my own business and getting ready for work, I got an unexpected visitor at my house. I opened the door to see my ex-mother-in-law waiting for me on the patio. Honestly, I was surprised to see her. She doesn't live in our city, so she must have driven to see me at my house. She was absent for most of our divorce proceedings, but didn't fail to egg on my ex-husband. She was quite furious when the court gave me a good chunk of David's money and alimony, so I had no idea why she would even try to interact with me again. Jessica pushed her way past me and said that we needed to talk. I sat her down and went to the kitchen to make some coffee. When I was coming back, I saw her go through my bag on the couch. She didn't see me, and I couldn't find out what she was trying to do before she saw me coming. When I sat down, I said, "So, what brings you here?" "Jessica, I don't see why you would ever need me or want my company, so it has to be something serious."
You are funny being just that in times. I have no idea who in this world would ever want your company. And you are a useless woman, so I can't get anything out of your help.
Okay then, pray tell me why you're here. I only invited you in because I thought it was something important or an emergency.
Okay then, pray tell me why you're here. I only invited you in because I thought it was something important or an emergency.
Oh, this is important. I have come to tell you what a waste of space you are. You ruined my son's life, and I hardly did anything. He's an absent partner, so I divorced him. The court did the rest. I didn't ruin him like you said. I didn't, said.
Yeah, you did. I always knew you were after his money. Your divorce proved it to me. Do you think I don't know how much the court awarded you in the divorce? You bled my son dry. If you think I will let you get away with it, you are wrong. I will ruin you too. Consider this a warning.
Jessica went on and on calling me names and giving me various kinds of threats. I was seriously baffled by what was happening. I never thought she would drive for hours just to come and yell at me. It was amusing and annoying as well. I was just wasting my time with her, and nothing was making sense. After some heavy threatening and yelling, Jessica left. I sat on my couch stunned at what happened. It actually ate at me the entire day. But the next morning when I was getting ready for work, I suddenly remembered that Jessica had been going through my handbag. I had no idea why she did that. I quickly checked my bag to see if anything was amiss. Everything was in place except for my credit card. At first, I wanted to be sure that I hadn't misplaced it somewhere. I searched everywhere and couldn't find it. That's when I suspected that Jessica might have taken it. Now, I didn't have cameras in my house, so there was no way of proving this to anyone. So, I waited for a chance to see if Jessica would be stupid enough to admit it, or if I could trap her. I didn't have to wait long to trap Jessica. About 2 weeks later, David called me out of the blue. I had no idea why he was calling me, because he wanted nothing to do with me anymore. Curious, I picked up the call only to be confronted by a very angry-sounding David. He said, "Jing, I got a notification that you spent $15,000 on my credit card. This is insane." "That's Jin. I'm not paying for that." What is wrong with you?" "Wait, what?" but I didn't even use the card. David, I stopped using it a long time ago. I'm not racking up more debt for you.
You are lying. June, I can clearly see several purchases, including hotels and activities at a resort. Are you out there partying thinking that I will take care of your bills?
Oh, don't be ridiculous. David, I'm not spending your money. I don't even know what resort you are talking about. I am at home, just getting ready for work. You can come and check. But, I can clearly see purchases made from your supplementary card. It says that you are making transactions in Hawaii. Like I said, David.
I am not in Hawaii. I am at home, and I haven't seen my card for a while. Wait, I think I know who might be making all those transactions. Give me a few minutes. I will find out. All right then, I will be waiting.
After David hung up, I had a fair idea where my credit card might be. I distinctly remember only Jessica visiting my place after the divorce was finalized. She came to my house to shout at me for ruining her son's life and how I deserved to be alone and miserable for the rest of my life. Now I see that she wasn't there just to yell at me after all. She was probably here to steal my credit card and land me in debt. She'd been salty about me getting a lot of money in the divorce settlement, so it kind of made sense she would do something to make it even. To confirm my theory, I called my ex-mother-in-law and decided to record the conversation. I knew it would be important. When Jessica picked up the call, I knew I had hit the jackpot. She said,
"Oh, well, look who's calling. No. What's for my aunt and sister? Oh, gee, you just the friends. There's something missing from your bank account."
So I was right. I see. You took my credit card, didn't you? Jessica?
It's about time you noticed your card missing. I must say, it's a very, very nice card with a high spending limit. It is doing wonders for my vacation fee.
To what vacation? Jessica, you need to be a little more specific than that.
I'm talking about my vacation to Hawaii. I took a grand tour with my friends. We are honestly having a blast. A 5-star services and all. 5-star scratchers.
Let me be straight here. Jessica, did you take my card and just spend $15,000 on it?
I didn't spend it. I didn't swash daiquiri. Jen, Jen. I took it last week, went on a shopping spree, booked a vacation, and I'm still making some amazing purchases.
Are you kidding me right now? You spent $15,000 on someone else's card. Have you no shame?
I wonder why. Jessica, you are the one who took my son to the cleaners and got a chunk of his money. To think you think I would let you get with that, you are wrong. Heyo, expressioner. Raspiati. Decent, I decided to take your card and make it even. Like, spend some of your money so that the scales are even.
Jessica had a hint of laughter in her tone when she revealed her grand plan to me. Her confession was all I needed to ruin her life. She had ruined her son's life already. I didn't need to help her with that. Jessica didn't know how disastrous her actions would prove to be, not just to herself, but also to her son. I let her have a moment before laughing aloud myself. She seemed surprised by my laughter. She said in a nasty voice,
"Well, why you got? You're June at the part says June. If you think that you can call me to stop using your card, you are wrong. What do you want? I am hundreds of miles away, and you can't make me give you back my card. I will make some more purchases and only return the card when I am satisfied with myself.
Oh my god, you poor thing. Jessica, I don't need my card back. You can keep it and use it as you please. I don't mind at all.
You be expensive all day. You mind me spending all your money.
You need to get your head out of your butt. Jessica, I don't know why you think you're spending my money.
Retribution, I am using your card for my purchases.
Yes, you are using my card for your purchases. But that's not why I knew what you were doing. Your son got his bank statements today and he informed me about it.
Nonsense! I responsibly action. My son hates you now and doesn't want to talk to you. That's why would he get notifications of your credit card transactions? Yeah, say.
You must have short-term memory loss or something. Jessica, did you forget that the court has ordered David to pay off my credit card bills? card you took is connected to his bank account. It was a supplementary card I had before our marriage. He forgot to get it back. Thanks for taking it off my hands. Now, there was a stunned silence on Jessica's end. She was trying to figure out if I was lying or if she had really messed up that badly. You see, she must have forgotten that the court had ordered him to pay my credit card bills. It wasn't my personal account, but a supplementary card linked to David's bank account. David had let me keep it, but he was the only one who used it to buy stuff for business. When I presented the proof to the judge, she instructed David to make those payments even though the card was in my name. Jessica had either forgotten that or simply thought that I had given the card back. Truth is, I was supposed to give David the card back once he returned from an emergency business trip. That was before Jessica swooped in and stole it. When Jessica realized the whole deal, she started to sound panicked. Or is the whole deal? She started to sound panicked when she said,
No, that can't be possible. I can just grow. You saying that my son has to pay off these bills?
Yes, Jessica, your son will be the one paying off the bills, so spend as you may. It doesn't affect me in any way.
No, that can't be happening. You are mine.
Jessica's panicked denial was the last thing I heard before she hung up on me. I guess she couldn't handle me speaking the truth. I did my part and confronted her. I had the recorded conversation to nuke her life for good, and I was first going to nuke her relationship with her son. I was curious how David would react. So after Jessica hung up on me, I proceeded to execute part 2 of my revenge plan. I called David and said, "So, I know someone took my card and is making those purchases without my authorization. I am thinking about filing a police report, or you can do it with me."
What? Someone took your card? Do you know who it is? I will definitely go after that person. The $15,000 is no joke to me. June, you need to tell me what you know.
Brace yourself for this. David, it was Jessica, your mother, who stole the card from me. I guess she did it last week when she came to my house to yell at me. Something about ruining your life and that. I guess she was really there to steal my card.
What nonsense are you spewing? June, just because my mom is also on a vacation to Hawaii doesn't mean she's doing this. You can't just accuse my mom like that.
I am not accusing your mom without proof. David, I have her own confession to the crime.
Though, I don't believe you. My mom would never do that to me. She wouldn't want me to lose money. She thought that she was spending the money that I got in the divorce from you. She even said something about evening the scales. If you don't believe me, I can send you the proof. It will make things crystal clear.
Yes, send me what you have. I need to get to the end of this nonsense. I sent David the call recording after hanging up. It took him some time to call me back. He was probably too shocked and furious to see what his dear mother had done. He called me back and I said, "So, is this proof enough for you?" David, like I said, I wasn't the one who racked up the debt from the credit card. It was your damn mother.
I can't believe how stupid she is. This is why I kept her far away from my money. God, I don't know what has gotten into her, but I'm not paying that off. I will sue.
Really? David, you want to sue your mother? Of course, she may have thought that she stole from you, but it is me who she stole from. There is no way I am paying that ridiculous credit card bill from my pocket. I highly doubt your mother has that kind of money lying around. Plus, she knows now what she is using your card. She may be spending the rest of the trip paying out of pocket.
Mom doesn't have that much money laying around for sure. That's exactly why I need to sue her if she refuses to pay me back. If she refuses to pay, you need to go to the cops with me to report the card missing.
I agreed to go with David to the police station. Then again, it's David who knows nothing beyond money, and that was almost entirely Jessica's fault who made him that way. But now it's all going to come back and bite her in the butt. I was getting front seats to the drama, but from here on, I will give you an abbreviated version of what went on. I got all this information from David and a few other sources from his family who are still close to me. After my talk with David, he called and confronted Jessica. She was really remorseful when she realized that she had indeed used his money. David was furious and laid it thick on Jessica. He informed her that she needed to pay him the money back or else he would sue her. Jessica thought that he was bluffing. They had a big argument and Jessica came back home early. Still, she thought that she could get away without paying the debt. Days passed and David gave her a final warning and even sent his lawyer to her. That made Jessica realize that David was dead serious. She did all sorts of things like begging and crying for mercy. The money was way too much for her, and she would have had to take 2 jobs to pay it out. Did that make David change his mind? Of course not. He made her pay him back. As far as I know, she is still working 2 jobs and making payments. The lawyer made her sign appropriate papers to make sure she didn't get away with it. When everything was settled, David and Jessica's relationship was over. They both blamed each other for the incident and are now not even talking to each other. So much for having a great mother-son bond. Anyway, I had a lot of fun watching everything from afar and knowing that I was free from that disastrous marriage, Bricks and family.